blurb about the social dynamics in eating the primal diet. Anytime you try to do something that you're bettering yourself or you're doing some self improvement, whether it's getting in shape or taking up a new hobby, trying new things, changing your diet, there are going to be people who are supportive and people who aren't supportive. And most people are going to be ambivalent, right? So, if you're eating this way in a social setting and people are going to have questions, first off, it's best just don't attract attention to yourself. You can make meals in a way that is more camouflaged, so to speak. Make a pate with some sauce. You put some accoutrements on there. You call it a casserole, okay? Oh, I'm eating this casserole. It's a beef casserole. Oh, okay. Well, that sounds great. You don't say anything about the primal diet or it's raw or whatever. Don't eat high meat around some people, right? Don't bring it to work. Don't bring it to family functions. Obviously, you can disguise your diet, right? You can disguise your food so it doesn't stick out. You can eat sashimi. Say, oh, I'm eating Japanese today. Oh, I'm eating steak tartare today. Things like this. It's wise to do. Oh, I'm making ceviche today. Oh, yeah. It's a little exotic, but it's, you just keep it light. And as far as eating schedules, maybe that has to change. You're changing that for whatever reason, your schedule. But you should eat as much as you can, as much as you want to, as much as you need to for the eating schedules. I don't follow the perfect eating schedule every day, but I eat raw foods every day. My timing is a little different on some of the meat meals and things, but I always space out my veg juice and my meat, right? But I try to get at least one meat meal in a day, about half the week too. It is what it is. It works for me. I'm getting results. So, and milkshakes and smoothies, obviously a great way to get food in. It's inconspicuous. So try to think of it more like that. If it does come up with people, you could just say, oh, well, I eat this way. It helps me in this way, in this vague way. Oh, okay, that's great. Don't overload them on the diet and everything about the diet and why you're on the diet 100%. Like I said, most people are ambivalent. They don't care. If you start to overload them, you give them TMI, it's going to make them not like you. It'll make them, maybe it may not make them not like you, but they may just think you're a little out there. Which, whatever, but if you're self-conscious, if you're trying to navigate these social waters delicately, then, maybe you don't do that. Maybe you don't care. Maybe you're a little bombastic. And you can deal with that. Or maybe you want that. Maybe you're seeking attention. Go ahead and do that. This is just sort of two people who aren't sure about the diet in terms of like eating it around other people. For instance, family functions, right? Don't bring the high meat to family functions, okay? When you don't want to partake in any of their food, or maybe not all of their food, maybe you feel a little guilty, a little pressured. You're like, well, I'll eat some turkey, I'll eat some roast, I'll eat a little bit of ham, but you're not going to eat much else, right? Because it's the processed foods, the casseroles, the other stuff, the desserts. You just say, oh, I'm trying to watch my diet. I'm trying to do these things, and don't be offended, but I'm eating this way, thanks. Like I bring my food to family functions, right? And no one really gives me any gripe about it anymore. They, friends and family, they kind of know I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm not forcing it on anybody. I generally go eat away from people before they eat because of the timing, right? And then everybody will eat, and I'll have a little something. I'll eat a little fruit or something, or I'll have a milkshake, and I'll sit at the table like that. So it is what it is. But if you feel guilty, like really guilty, and you want to eat a little piece of cooked meat or whatever, then go ahead. It's just a little piece of cooked meat. If that's what you want to do. But if you don't want to do it, then don't do it, right? So, don't feel so pressured into doing something. But if you, in some cultures especially, right, not eating the food would be very insulting. But also maybe you have supportive family and they're conscientious towards your proclivities, and they might have some raw foods there for you to enjoy, so you don't feel left out, and so you don't feel offended or guilty by not taking their food, right? So, you know, it does seem kind of silly to show up to a family gathering and say, oh, well, I'm stuffed, I already ate, or to bring your own food, or better yet, bring a dish to share. You know, make a cheesecake. You know, that's a raw dish that everybody can enjoy. There's nothing too crazy about that. You know, maybe you have some adventurous eaters in your family that know about steak tartare or ceviche or sushi. You know, you could bring that. Like I said, there's usually a way to go about these things and navigate them. You just have to have an open mind about it. You have to be a little creative, and you have to have that self-confidence. You know, if you're having these feelings of insecurity and lack of confidence, it might draw an eye toward you about it. But if you're secure in what you're doing, then you kind of give off this air of that, oh, everything's normal. You know, this is just what I do, and people won't think twice about it, right? So that's just some advice there. Of course, I've seen some people, younger folks, who live at home, and they, you know, their parents won't let them eat raw meat. They can't have raw foods in the house or whatever. None of that. You could sneak foods, honestly, if you wanted to, if that's your goal. Harder to navigate those situations, obviously. That's on the extreme end, of course. So, you know, you just got to make the best with what you can while you still have to live under those rules, right? You know, their house, their rules. Hopefully you have people in your life who are understanding about these things, and you don't have to, you know, hide that so much. But being inconspicuous about it yourself is not a bad thing, and it may make life less stressful for you, especially if you don't like talking too much about the diet, which I really don't recommend you do. You know, keep it bare bones and minimum. And like I said, if people want to investigate it further, if you're talking to people who you can have deeper conversations with, then perhaps you can, you know, point them in the right direction. Say, hey, read this book if you're interested in more. You know, this is where I get all my information from. You don't really want to hear it from me, just go to the source. So, you know, you just got to do the best you can. If you really want to make changes and you really want to be committed to the diet, then you will do it. I believe you will do it. It's just a matter of having the mindset, having the belief and the confidence to do it, and the discipline. So, but if you really don't want to do something, then you really don't want to do something. Don't try to force yourself into something you don't want to do. So, but if you believe in something, like I believe in the diet, so I do it 100% because I'm getting results and I know it's good for me. I don't really say it's for everybody. You know, for some people, they don't really care, and that's on them. That's their choice. So, and that's fine by me. You know, I have friends who eat all kinds of diets and foods, and just because they don't eat raw meat, that doesn't bother me. So, you know, that's another thing. You gotta be a little accepting as well. So, you know, I hope this helps if you're having a hard time navigating this diet with the social aspects. You know, try to have a little more confidence, be a little more inconspicuous with your food, be more brief about your dietary choices. Like I said, most people are ambivalent. They're just trying to make surface level conversation, so don't overload them. And most people forget, honestly, anyway. So, you got questions or comments, leave them below.